Okay, we're finally back on the NIKKE train. Chapter 14 summarizes came from the Discord, so that lets me know, hey, the NIKKE fan base, you guys like KhunShawn, and I like you guys too. So let's go ahead and hear what is up next. I'm gonna go ahead and hit like button already because I already know this is gonna be a fire. Let's go.
Many harsh realities in the world of NIKKE,
Mm-hmm.
yet one proves to be more common above all else. Not all stories have a happy ending, as we'll soon come to realize in this chapter's summary.
Mm-hmm.
Once more, before we continue, a big thanks to my channel members, and to you,
Yeah, shout
dear
out to the
viewer, for
members. Let's
supporting
go.
this series.
Lord of the Nut.
It has been a month since Marian had experienced her neural wipe, and by this point, all seems to have returned to normal. The last month was spent assisting Marian to return to her former self. In addition, they'd also conducted simulated tests to get her accustomed to surface combat as well. Although her simulation results proved to be exemplary, there is still some doubt as to how Marian will perform in a real fight against the Raptures. Evidently, Marian's combat power can be chalked up to the fact that she was once a heretic before. Though we don't know much about the heretics, one thing is for certain: they rival the strongest members that the Ark has. Due to her innate strength, very little possibility is there of Marian failing to defeat the Raptures in a real skirmish.
Sounds
It
good.
is not long before the group encounters their first set of Raptures, putting to test all the teachings that Counters had instilled on Marian. The battle was ended swiftly, and unsurprisingly, Marian is a powerhouse and a formidable foe for any Raptures that she comes
100%.
across.
She was the enemy.
Following the battle, while conducting any necessary repairs, something odd occurs. Marian approaches a dying Rapture and begins stroking its core. In
Hey,
a
yo.
dark and twisted way, it's as if she's sending the Rapture off into death peacefully.
Oh,
This
nice.
notion, of course,
Comforting.
unsettles the group.
What?
And when asked why
It does?
Marian did it, she replies that she simply felt sorry for it.
Mm.
She felt sorry for the Raptures, the mechanical creatures who'd plunged the world into chaos and disarray so many years ago. With childlike innocence, Marian starts to question why she has to fight. Why do NIKKEs have to kill Raptures? She asks if the
She
Raptures
asking
had done
some big
something
questions,
wrong,
huh?
and Rappy, much like
Okay.
many of us, doesn't have an answer for her. We still are entirely unaware of the origin of the Raptures, nor do we know their reasoning for eradicating humanity to begin with. Without getting a clear response from the commander or Rappy, Marian states that she doesn't understand and wants to go back to the outpost. Marian is tired, and thus, Rappy tells the rest of the team to head back as well. We are then met with Anderson and Ingrid, who are inquiring about Marian's first mission on the surface. The commander informs the duo of Marian's puzzling behavior
Mission success.
and her sympathy towards a dying Rapture.
Oh no,
When
oh
Ingrid-
no. Oh man, honestly, as soon as you bring that up, I already know that the higher ups are gonna be like, oh wait, what? What she said what? Huh? She did what? She tried to take care of the Raptures? What? She asking why do the Nikke's fight? Oh man, this is he shouldn't have said that.
Ingrid gives a somewhat generic answer, Anderson chalks it up to a side effect of Marian being fused with Rapture parts as well. Oh yeah, that's
Okay,
a small little tidbit I can add here. Heretics
Sure,
aren't only
we'll see.
purely NIKKE tech, but an amalgamation of both Rapture and NIKKE technology combined. It's an odd
Okay.
sense of NIKKE fusing, with the first instance appearing as early as the Red Ash story. Anderson and Ingrid are unsure if Marian needs to be retrained, stating that, mentally, she's still a child. It's perfectly understandable for her to be questioning the conflict
Child
between
soldier.
humanity and Raptures.
With tits.
However, in the future, this could prove to be something which could cause issues for the Counters. If incidences like these were to repeat, Anderson and Ingrid would be forced to intervene. Ingrid warns that greed makes people do crazy things.
It sure does.
The central government sees everything, and no one is truly safe from their reach. Ingrid ends the conversation advising the commander that he can never be too careful, and to remain
100%
on
after
guard.
saying that.
Back at
like,
the
no.
outpost, the Counters are dealing with a troublesome Marian. She seems to not be calming down until she sees the commander enter the outpost. The Counters can finally breathe a sigh of relief, but oh boy, things are about to be anything but calm. Suddenly, midway through asking the commander about future assignments, Rappy tells everyone to get down. The sudden sound of shattering glass is heard, followed by a cascade of gunfire.
Wait, what?
This
Inside
isn't an
the-
attack by the
inside the
Raptors,
base?
but instead by the corrupt entity that is the Central Government.
Ah,
Remember the Triangle Squad? You know, the group that literally
Civil War
killed
time.
Exia? Well, they're back. And this
Okay.
time, they brought a group of mass-produced NIKKEs along with them.
Oh boy.
We are met with a smug Privity who believes they have the upper hand over the counters, when suddenly, a bullet whizzes past Privity's ear, and Rappy warns that the next one will go between her eyes. Rappy demands an explanation as to why Triangle is there, and shaking like a leaf, Privity states that they're under direct orders from her superiors, specifically a deputy chief, to secure Marian by any means necessary. Remember when Ingrid said greed makes people do some crazy things? Well, dear viewer, this is Exhibit A. And no, this wasn't Anderson that enacted this order. It was another deputy chief. In this world, there are multiple deputy chiefs that you'll come to know as the story progresses, with Anderson being the most prevalent. Rappy doubles down and simply states that Marian is a member of the commando unit, and that she is not to be taken by anyone else. Of course, the central government is wary of Marian's loyalty to humanity. They suspect Marian of secretly colluding with the Raptures, this being their main reason for wanting to take her by force. The speculation of Marian's loyalty is due to her recent mission they had just returned from. Privity taunts counters once more, stating that she is authorized to use force if necessary to obtain Marian, so it's best the counters just hand her over. Anise has had enough of Privity's dribble and tells her to shut it already. What are we gonna do? Okay. Although Privity's rebuttal is that they're simply following orders, Anise's response is one of the most played sound bites and one of the biggest memes in the NIKKE community to date.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
My superiors.
Oh boy. Man, I'm over here preparing for something like badass, something cool, and she starts barking. So she hit her with the ISO speed, bro. And that shit worked.
What on earth are you doing? I'm talking to a central government lapdog.
Oh wait, that might not be what you heard.
That was
so
a
here's
bird.
a double take, and this time with the JP voice acting.
So that's what Japanese dogs sound like.
Truly a classic. Privity, in retaliation, orders the mass-produced NIKKEs to move in on Counter's location. Funnily enough, the safest route for Counters to retreat to here would be the surface, and with their retreat, the commander attempts to contact Anderson to inform them of the central government's actions. Even though the Counters successfully make it to the surface, they soon run into another issue. Triangle wasn't working alone, and evidently, the central government was using all their resources to capture Marian. All communications are jammed and the Counters can't even get in contact with Shifty. Their only option here is to make their way to a radio tower to establish a stable connection, and without any further hesitation, the group makes haste towards the nearest radio tower to establish a stable line of communication with Anderson and Shifty.
I like this art.
We'll traverse
time left 12. So this was an event. This is a 12-hour not a 12-hour event, but like I'm guessing like a monthly or a weekly event.
Establish a stable line of communication with Anderson and Shifty. While traversing towards the radio tower, Marian asks if Triangle are bad people, and with Anise answering yes, Marian simply asks if she can shoot them.
Oh, okay, well, escalation of force. I mean,
which it's only right to retaliate against.
Escalation of force.
Rappy is the one to damage control the situation. Simply stating that they shouldn't shoot anyone, and just because Triangle did something bad doesn't mean they should do the same. The team makes it to the radio tower and attempts to establish a signal. Neon, with Rappy's instruction, attempts to activate the tower only to receive a nasty shock. Suddenly, Rappy yells out to the group that it's a trap, and while they all hastily retreat, a large explosion can be heard within the facility. With the booby trap rendering the communication system useless, the group's only option is to carefully navigate out of the radio tower, as to not set off any more traps on their way out. As Marian is about to exit the room, Neon pulls her back as she sets off another explosion triggered by a laser motion sensor. Neon shields Marian from the blast.
That's big.
Scared and worried if Neon is okay, Marian agrees to stay within the formation, and with Neon confirming that she's alright, Anise heads to the group while leading them out of the radio tower. After a short period on foot, the team makes it to the second radio tower. This time, Rappy advises everyone to be cautious of their surroundings due to their kerfuffle in the last tower.
I like this animation.
Seeing a box of bandages, Marian simply can't help herself. Fixated completely on them, she makes a beeline for the box. Marian insists that she needs them.
It's a trap.
Big surprise! Once Marian picks up the box, it begins to beep with a flashing red light emanating inside of the box.
Oh wow.
Marian had been lured into another trap. This one in the form of a box stuffed to the brim with explosives. urging Marian not to move
Okay.
while trying to defuse the situation.
Literally.
The commander feels a cold metal press against the back of his head. This feeling is all too familiar. It's a gun.
Bro, what an amazing visual representation. Bro said, hey, let's go get this gun stock footage.
Not held by any of his squad
Okay,
members,
we at the range.
but instead by another person entirely.
Hands above your head.
Oh.
Now.
Put one hand up.
Good job.
It is here that we are introduced to D and K, two NIKKEs from the group Perilous Siege. They're the ones who had booby-trapped the radio towers, and it's evident that they're also interested in capturing Marian. Perilous Siege is holding the commander in an attempt to strong-arm the counters to comply. However, there's just one problem. NIKKEs can't shoot humans, right? It is revealed that D and K both had their inhibitors removed, making it possible for them to bring harm onto humans, even killing them if they wish.
Okay.
K demands that they hand Marian over,
How'd they
saying
get the
she'll spare the
inhibitor
life of
chips out?
counters and the commander if they do so.
I like her
K
gun.
is irritated at this point and doesn't see the issue with killing a commander when there's an abundance of them in the Ark. Evidently, D is done with
Quality
K's constant babbling
over
and pushes for them to get business done. Marian asks the commander if he's in danger, to which he emphatically replies, yes. Kind of no shit, Marian. Marian begins to squeeze the box,
Bro, we almost
well
got
aware of
blown
the
up 3
consequences
times.
of doing so. Against K's warning that it'll explode, Marian simply says that she knows. She's all too aware of the danger. However, this is necessary to save her friends. D and K scramble to get away from the explosive's radius, and the box explodes. But something odd happens.
What?
The explosion is localized in Marian's radius before the blast is completely absorbed into her bandage.
Huh.
D and K are in awe of what just happened,
She
questioning
absorbed
what Marian
explosions, huh?
really is. Her response is pointing
She's
her
a
gun
beast.
towards the duo. With full intent to fire, Marian pulls the trigger. However, being a NIKKE, she cannot fire unless given the order to.
Okay.
With this, D and K intend to retaliate against Marian, but that doesn't go so well.
Okay.
Marian
what
stands above an unconscious D and K. It's as if the battle was of no difficulty to her. Awestruck
No
by
diff.
Marian's actions, the
Sounds
group
good.
sets out, abandoning
I'm
the
glad
second
she's on our
radio
side.
tower. You would think the group is out of the woods now, right?
No.
Surely they're done with all
Bro,
the
the
random
government
oh,
wants them.
look, it's a triangle squad.
Yeah,
Again,
this is the government.
Anise and myself, for that matter, are amazed the triangle followed them all the way up to the
You
surface.
can run, but you
Privy
can't
starts
hide.
spewing all the central government babble about how many crimes Marian had committed, which to a degree is valid, but also the fact that they have permission to eliminate everyone but the target. Yep, she is way too high on her moral horse right now to even think about anything else. Rappy calls out Privy on her bullshit, questioning her blind loyalty to the central government. It is revealed that if the commander hands over Marian, she will be dissected all the way down to her base components.
Yeah,
The
she
Ark is
definitely
heavily
would.
behind in technological advancements,
Mhm.
and Marian would help move the Ark forward
yes.
100 years.
Yes.
She has a unique
She is a very powerful resource. Like, she literally absorbs explosions, bro. That's big.
composition of NIKKE and Rapture tech, and as it currently stands, the central government cannot analyze her
And
without
she's the
cutting
only
her
one.
open and studying every piece of her, bit
Yes,
by
sir.
bit. Admi goes into fairly graphic detail of all that would happen, and states it's because she doesn't want to lie to the commander. Yulha
Okay.
cuts Admi off,
Thanks.
inquiring about what the commander's choice will be. With this, the mass-produced NIKKEs ready their weapons at Privy's command. She gives the order to use live ammunition, and that everyone but Marian is expendable. With both
Oh,
sides
wow.
readying their weapons, Shifty suddenly comes through
Okay.
the comm system and tells everyone to
drastic.
stand down. Privy, being the government lapdog that she is, says she'll do no such thing when Anderson's voice interjects, broadcasting the following statement.
Mind if I chime in?
Mr. Anderson?
Mr. and
Were you going to say your orders came from the Deputy Commander-in-Chief?
That's right.
Birmingham gave the order. That order has been rescinded.
Ooh.
You and your troops will withdraw and return to the Ark.
He got outranked.
I apologize, Mr. Anderson, but
You disobeying an
we are
order?
well aware that you are backing the commando squad. I believe this may be a ruse to get them out of this situation.
Are you insinuating that I am lying?
Uh-oh.
Yes,
You're questioning
I am.
command? Oh, she's brave.
Birmingham, Would you like to say a few words? All of you with, draw...
Immediately.
What is that?
You heard the man?
What's going on over there?
Wow, she's
nothing,
questioning
just
orders. She's doing
two
more than what a
old
dog
friends
does.
getting reacquainted.
He put them
Isn't that
hands on him. He put them hands on him. Anderson.
That's right.
Anderson, the dude, for real.
I think Anderson's putting the screws to him.
Anderson's a
I'm telling
homie.
you one last time. Withdraw. Immediately.
That's crazy though that the Nikke's were able, like, they were able to question the chain of command and even form their own hypothesis, which might be actually accurate. But to voice this concern out loud, that's pretty big, man.
Anderson's putting the screws to him.
That's pretty big.
I'm telling you one last time. Withdraw. Immediately.
By the way, you saw that right. Our Chad Anderson had literally beaten the living shit out of
he put
Burning
them
them.
hands
And
on him.
holy crap, that man is not doing
Got
so great.
messed up.
Anderson really isn't someone to mess with.
Facts.
Anderson is now
Look at
directly
him.
confronting
He in the
Burning
gym.
them,
Like your
disgusted
boy
that he would go
KhunShawn.
so far as to use Triangle and Perilous Siege for his scheme of capturing Marian. He remarks that he didn't think Birmingham would stoop much lower, which raises a question as to what other egregious acts this man has committed. Birmingham states that Anderson knows how valuable Marian is to the central government. Capturing and subsequently dissecting Marian could lead to advancements which could be utilized to defeat the Raptures. Anderson is skeptical, questioning the veracity of Birmingham's claims, to which he replies that it's simply a gut feeling. Though Anderson does respect Birmingham's reasoning behind his actions, he can allow him to continue hunting Marian. He tells Birmingham that this ends here, and he doesn't want to get another report of such actions taking place against the commando unit again.
Okay.
Though Birmingham is the deputy chief, his reach only extends so far. Birmingham retorts, saying that he will not back down, to which Anderson replies that he will do everything in his power to see it through that Marian isn't dissected and is kept safe.
Is humanity no longer
Man,
your top
Anderson's
priority?
gonna make himself a target
Or is
for
it the
us.
former commander in you that doesn't want to see a Nikke treated this way? If you know what's
And
good
he
for you,
questioning him on his
you
loyalty.
won't bring that up again.
Damn, that's big.
Sorry.
You're questioning his loyalty.
I understand you. I do.
Okay.
I have to figure out another way.
In an
Yeah.
odd sort of way,
And that's 100% true on Anderson part. We don't know everything that's going on. That doesn't mean we just should go ahead and just start dissecting maybe the only hope that we have into changing whatever it is that's going on. Man, yes, I love this. Nikke has some great writing. I love this.
things seem to have de-escalated, and the two deputy chiefs can somewhat see each other's viewpoint eye to eye now.
Yeah,
Back at the
respectable. He
outpost,
just had
the
to get beat
commando
up.
unit finally has a chance to rest. They are still in awe of how Marian was able to absorb the bomb's blast, to which Marian states it's simply because she thought that she could do it. Evidently, it's obvious why the central
I love
government
this
is
art.
after Marian, due to her innate skills and power. Even with the backing of Anderson and Ingrid, counters will have to defend the outpost all on their own. There are only two outcomes of this repetitive loop of constant fighting. Either counters give up Marian, or they fight to protect her until the bitter end. When entering the commander's
We need a new
quarters, the
solution.
group finds that it's been ransacked. The room is left in disarray, and various footprints lay scattered across the floor. The group is shocked, wondering who could have done this when Ingrid appears, stating that it was Heavenly Ascension. It is here that we are introduced to one of the most notorious groups of terrorists in
illegal
the Ark,
outlaws.
and ones responsible for tragedies that befell it. You actually met some of the victims of Heavenly Ascension in the last chapter, the members of Infinity Rail.
The train.
Nikkes were once humans. Humans who were victims of a massive train bombing in the Ark,
Wait,
killing
what?
everyone on board.
Whoa,
Ingrid had gotten
what?
word that Heavenly Ascension had
Whoa,
raided
I
the
didn't know
outpost
that.
and made great haste to get there. The perpetrators of this raid had already been apprehended and imprisoned.
I ain't gonna lie, the architecture on this chair is very interesting, bro. There's no back legs. How am I gonna lean backwards in this chair? There's no back legs.
Heavenly Ascension is also after Marian, since information of her had spread through the entire Ark and the Outer Rim, which is Heavenly Ascension's main area of
The Outer Rim.
operation.
Sound like
The
Star Wars.
surprising thing here is the fact that the information had spread that quickly. Ingrid believes that the information had been leaked purposefully, and the group can only think of one person who do such a drastic thing. This being
Anonymous.
Birmingham. Ingrid warns that the outpost will be raided in an attempt to capture Marian. Even with Ingrid and Anderson helping counters, there is no feasible way that they can possibly fend off the entire might of the Ark and the central government.
That's absolutely
With this
true.
ominous warning, the counters prepare to defend their newfound ally, refusing to let her fall into the hands of the central government, or any force that intends to take her. 5 long days pass.
Okay.
5 days of constant
5
fighting.
days
The
later.
outposts have been attacked a total of 13 times, with the
That's
aggressors
big.
ranging
5
from Heavenly
days?
Ascension to
Okay.
central government soldiers.
Okay.
Everyone at the outpost is at their wits' end, constantly fighting against humanity instead of the Raptures.
Yeah.
The commander has had enough and pulls out his phone, contacting the one person left
Snow
that he
Wife.
could turn to.
Our trump card.
The counters are now on the surface, traversing to a target location to meet with some old friends. Marian is confused, questioning where they're going, saying that she doesn't need any new friends since she has the commander and counters. The group can't bring themselves to tell Marian the truth, and alongside the commander, urge Marian to continue following them until they reach their designated location. If Marian wasn't safe in the Ark, then the commander wouldn't force her to stay there. As Marian said before, the commander is a caring person, a kind person, so he found the only method that he could use to keep Marian safe. The group finally arrives at their destination, being face to face with Snow White. Snow White informs Marian that from now on, she's with them being
Let's
the
go.
members of Pioneer.
The OP
Marian, of
squad.
course, isn't too happy with this decision. Even with her
course
neural
not.
wipe, she still has a deep love for the commander and a newfound love for the counters. She pleads with the commander to not send her away, and at first, misinterprets
Hey, yo,
this as
this
punishment
animation's
for her
wild.
various mishaps within the outpost. This actually makes the scene hit a lot harder. Marian doesn't fully understand the situation that she's in, and instead, feels as though the counters were deserting her due to how she'd acted since they teamed up,
Oh man.
when in reality, this was hard for all of them, and the only option they had left to ensure Marian's well-being, even if that meant being without them.
I don't want to. I don't want that.
That's
I
sad.
want to be with the commander. I want to be with all of you.
Hmm. Tough call, Commander.
I'll wear my underwear underneath my clothes. I won't play with the flower.
Huh?
I won't look into a gun or fight recklessly.
You were doing
I'll
what?
do whatever
She was looking into guns.
you tell me. Just please don't leave me.
What? Oh, whoa, man. Hold on. There's just too many red flags.
Do you
There's
not
too
like
many.
me anymore, Commander?
Oh boy. Here we go.
I like you, Commander. I like every one of you. I like eating together, standing guard together, and napping together.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
want to be
great.
with all of you. I like everything about all of you. So don't.
Marian continues to plead as she
That's an interesting perspective. She enjoys being with them so much, even though they're going through danger, she's willing to be with them just because she enjoys the sake of being with them. Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, we're still trying to look out for you. We don't want you to get dissected, so you still need to go with OP Squad. Yeah, it's gonna hurt emotionally 100%, but logically, you're way too valuable, man. We don't need you just ending up being some type of lab experiment. Like, no, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it.
wants to stay with the commander and counters, emphatically repeating how much they mean to her. The commander says that he'll come back for her,
Yeah,
and states that that's a
eventually.
promise. When the time is right, they'll come back for Marian.
Yeah, we just
Just
need to
then,
stop the
a black
government.
light emanates from Marian's body. Stunned, the counters are at a loss of what to do. Snow White simply sighs, and with the help of Scarlet and Rapunzel, the group surrounds Marian as a white light envelops the darkness, swallowing it up completely.
They look
Snow White
beast.
says that she brought Scarlet and Rapunzel as a sign of good fate, to show that she clearly
Rapunzel.
intends to uphold her side of the bargain and take care of Marian as well as protect her.
She cooking yams.
Snow White knows that it's her fault that Marian ended up the way that she did, so she also feels a sense of urgency to make sure she does all she can for her now.
Okay.
As a small side note, seeing these three pilgrims together is actually quite a rare sight. The pioneers don't usually meet up often,
Okay.
so for all of them to meet like this
They're
this
like
is
the White
truly a
Lotus.
sign of how dedicated they are to Marian's cause.
Yeah, they have a
As
a common
pioneers
goal.
venture off, Snow White repeats one last time that she will do her best to care for Marian, and with that, the elusive pilgrims with Marian in tow disappear into the fog, ending the feud between the Counters and the Ark. The only issue now is relaying what exactly happened to the central government. However, the group has a plan for that too. Back at the outpost, Counters is having a chat with Privity about what exactly happened on the surface. According to their recount, the commando unit went up for a stroll on the surface when they were ambushed by pilgrims who swiftly overpowered them and took Marian. Privity presses the group with further questions, and it's almost comical how silly the Counters' responses are.
Before we continue, I want to say, like, it's so, like, they got chased out by the government because they wanted Miriam, but now that Counter has returned without Miriam, why isn't the central government like arresting them? That's the part I don't get.
Even though their acting is less than subpar, it doesn't change the fact that Marian is no longer with them.
Yeah.
Privity decides that the mission is most likely over, and in a huff goes to leave the outpost.
No, it's not.
She stops midway through the door, and in a stuttery voice asks if the Counters see Marian again to tell her to be well. This of course makes Denise laugh after all the crap that they've been through. She also cares about Marian despite all that she's done.
What?
And we can chalk that up to her simply following orders to detain her previously. The commander is then summoned to Anderson's office with the information that someone important would like to meet with him. Anderson praises the...
I'm not gonna lie, this Anise character is something else. Like, for you to sit here and say, oh, next time you see Miriam, tell her I said hi, even though you were gonna arrest her because it was your orders to do so, and you were even questioning another officer because you rightfully were assuming that the officer that gave you the original orders is changing their orders against their will. Yet you still feel at the end of the day you still like Miriam. What?
Her simply following orders to detain her previously.
What?
The commander is then summoned to Anderson's office with the information that someone important would like to meet with him.
Me. Oh, hell nah. I don't like text like that.
Anderson praises the commander for ending the situation the way that he did.
Anderson.
It was far less extreme than other outcomes which could have happened. The commander is very smart, utilizing the connections he had with Pioneer to get him out of this jam.
Always use
Anderson also informs the commander that Enoch, the AI that oversees all of the Ark, would like to speak with him. When Enoch encounters something unusual, or that is not easily explained, she learns best by directly interacting with that individual, and thus the commander makes his way to Enoch's chamber. When meeting with Enoch, she has a few questions for the commander. She inquires about the commander's methodology behind handing Marian over to the Pilgrims versus handing her to the Ark. To Enoch, she believed that the commander would easily hand Marian over, so she is curious as to the reasoning behind all of this. She also asks the commander if he feels Marian is a viable resource to the Ark, considering she is a mixture of both Rapture and NIKKE technology. To each of these questions, the player is prompted with 3 answers. However, each answer leads to the same reply for the player.
Because Miriam belongs to me and me alone, I want to save her. Marian is more important than mankind. I wanted to save her. Seems like a suffice answer. Miriam is more important than mankind. That's also a pretty deep answer. The other one is whatever, weirdo.
The player is prompted with 3 answers. However, each answer leads to the same reply from Enoch. Due to the commander taking the time to allow Enoch to adapt and understand both himself and the world around her a bit clearer, she states that she'll answer any question the commander has as a form of thanks. The commander ponders this offer for a moment, when the thought of a familiar smiling face comes to mind. The commander asks if Chatterbox was communicating with someone in the Ark, and if that was the reason behind Marian's corrupting. Yes, we are recalling all the way back to Chapter 0.
Yeah.
Enoch's response is one that shocks both the commander and myself when I first played through it.
Okay, let me hear it. Ooh, dramatic.
Enoch was the one who colluded with Chatterbox. She was the one who was responsible for corrupting Marian, and the one responsible for not only the events of Chapter 0, but all future events following that surrounded Marian becoming Modernia. The commander, rightfully so, is furious, demanding an explanation as to why the AI who oversees the entire Ark would do such a thing. Enoch's answer should be enough to tell you that humanity is not as safe as they believe to be in the Ark. Since the Ark's completion, following the legendary last stand, Operation Ark Guardian, the Ark had never once been invaded by Raptures. This is widely believed that this is due to the fact that Raptures are unaware of the Ark's location, thus allowing its citizens to live peacefully underground, away from the war-torn surface with the Raptures. This, however, is far from the truth. The Raptures have known of the Ark's location for a very, very long time, and they were never safe in the Ark to begin with.
The Raptures have known the Ark's location for a very long time. Chatterbox made a deal with me. In exchange for him not attacking the Ark, I was to periodically provide him with NIKKEs. I therefore select NIKKEs on a random basis and implant the corruption code sent by Chatterbox. I then manipulate the barrier and have them sent up to the surface.
Wow. So you're just
basically
a puppet on a string.
Enoch
for
was using
Chatterbox?
NIKKEs as bargaining chips.
That's crazy.
She further
to keep everybody else alive?
Further states that the gap in strength between the Raptures and humans are substantial. If they were to launch an all-out assault and face the Raptures head-on, there would be
Game
a
over,
0% chance
GG.
of success. This isn't a case where there's some sliver of hope, but an absolute massacre with no victory in sight. Remember back a few chapters ago when we found out about the ant colony and all those deceased NIKKEs that were within it?
Yeah.
A good number of those could also be chalked up to this deal that Enoch had with Chatterbox. We quite literally are feeding the enemy resources to make them stronger, all because we don't have the strength to fight back.
Yeah.
With Chatterbox dead, Enoch is unaware of her.
That is absolutely insane, bro. To purposefully power up your enemy because your enemy is already so much more stronger than you, that making them even stronger is just like, I mean, they're already stronger. That's damn, that is very depressing, man.
Her place in this agreement and
That
where she
is very
stands.
depressing.
However, she states that with the commander present, there's a new hope for humanity.
Oh, okay.
The commander had accomplished feats that the Ark, during the entirety of its existence, had never come close to completing.
Facts.
He'd killed Chatterbox,
Facts.
destroyed a Raptor stronghold, and purified a heretic.
Sure did.
Perhaps with the commander, Enoch states, they could find victory. With this newfound information, the commander leaves Enoch's quarters, ending the massive twist in the story overall.
That's it. That is
and
a pretty
we
big
end
twist,
this
man.
chapter
That is a
with,
pretty big twist.
drum roll please, it's Syuen.
Oh my, come on, man. Like, come on, dog. I was like, oh man, well, the video's almost done, and then this. Why are you here? Get out of here. Nobody likes you.
Syuen is in her lab, looking as stuck up, smug, and unpleasant as usual.
Yeah, it's like a face you just want to take your shoe and you just want to just hit it with. Like, I don't know what it is. When you see this face, you just want to hit it, bro.
It is here that
It's
we are
crazy.
also introduced to Syuen's assistant, Marian. It appears that Syuen had some sort of items delivered to her, and she demands that Marian hand it over. Marian hands Syuen a red bullet, a bullet that she had retrieved from the surface.
Oh, great.
This was the Vophouse bullet,
Oh,
the
great.
trump card
How'd
given
she
to the
find
commander
that?
by Snow White to defeat
How did she
Modernia if push came
find
to
that?
shove. The same bullet that was shot and caught by Modernia during their scuffle with the commander. If you recall, Modernia has spit the bullet on the ground, and now it was in the hands of Missless's CEO.
Oh, great.
Brienne questions what Syuen intends to do with the bullet, to which Syuen replies
That's
that
a
it's
very
obvious
powerful
what her
trump
next
card.
course of action will be. Corruption contaminates Nymph and manipulates NIKKEs. So what would happen if the Nymph were completely removed? Matisse had been corrupted by Material H, and with the Vophouse bullet, Syuen states that she will wake Matisse. And with that, we wrap up chapter 14 of NIKKE's story.
Amazing.
Not only do we have the revelation of Enoch's covert deal with the Raptures, but we also have the lingering question of Marian and Matisse's fate. Did you enjoy this video? And what
Yeah, it
was
was
your
great.
favorite part? Be sure
My favorite part. Honestly, the overall revelation is really good. I'm not sure if that's my favorite part in the entire video though. But honestly, overall, I think this chapter was really, really good. Um, if I was to pick a favorite, maybe the NIKKE's questioning the chain of command, because that's pretty big. Like for these two to question chain of command and still just like go along with it is kind of crazy. Anderson being that guy, very respectable. I think those are my that like that whole situation and a little bit after that is my favorite part. But yeah, that was a great chapter, man. And this came from the Discord. So shout out to the Discord link down below. If you guys ever want me to check out stuff, that's the way to do it because I check that pretty frequently and it's like, okay, they want me to check this out, cool. And then we'll make the video when I get time. I do like to put more of myself into these videos, so it's gonna take more time to actually produce these because I actually care about the content that I'm creating and the content that you are consuming now. So if you have enjoyed the video, I encourage you to please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and if you really do enjoy it, join the Discord link down below and drop the next video, chapter 15, and I'll check it out when I get time. Anyways, it's your boy KhunShawn. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.